that song somebody's about. It's basically a dumb bar. All right, a little Andrew Brassfield there with Moonlight. For that, Pain with the song Hi, Hi.
Right.
For that, Vulture Whale with Avatar. They actually played that last night.
Yeah, they sure did.
Das Hoots to finish off Secret Stages. And kicking things off with that set, Vietnamese with Alabama Summer. And they played here at Workplay last night. From what I understand was an incredible show. We've been been following the tweets. It looks like the Avondale Brewery Biscuits and Jam thing is wrapping up, and the St. Paul and the Broken Bones played a 3 or 4 song encore.
Wow, great.
It was supposed to be really great. So hope that everything worked out for that, and I know that Desert Island Supply Company is the beneficiary of people going out and seeing that show, so I hope that it worked out. Speaking of hoping that it works out,
Yeah.
2059.
All right.
And I think that's something that a lot of people are not, especially if they're not in the possibly affected neighborhoods, don't really know just what an issue it is. But kind of give us a little background on what's going on with that.
All right. So to give everybody the background, how far back do you want to go? Do we want to go back to the origin of this whole problem? I mean, we can go back. We can go back to the original. So, in the 50s, President Eisenhower signed the order to build out the interstate system, and when he did so, he was under the impression that it would follow the German model, where it would be more like the autobahns, which are intercity transport, not intra-city. And to suss out the difference, it would be highways that go between cities, but not through cities.
Right.
And when he discovered that they were going to intend to build the highways through cities, he was very upset with that, and really kind of opposed it. But nonetheless, they ended up getting built over the next 20 years after the initial order creating the interstate system. So 2059 ended up being built and opened in the early 70s, but it was planned well before that. The route of the interstate went through a lot of poor neighborhoods, often black neighborhoods, and really kind of cut right through the heart of the city and really kind of ended up segregating portions of the city from other portions of the city. So right now, in Birmingham, you have 65, you have 2059 in the expressway, boxing in the main part of downtown, and with Red Mountain being the fourth wall of the square there, and really that isolates it and creates both a physical and majorly a psychological barrier between parts of the city. So the situation now is that the bridges down there, the as they're called, the viaducts, 2059, right by the BJCC, behind the Art Museum and the School of Arts. Yeah. So those bridges have reached well beyond their lifespan. They really should have been replaced, 20, 30 years ago.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're described as they're described as let's see, what is it? Structurally deficient and functionally obsolete.
Oh.
That's the official terminology that's used.
Last season of Friends.
Yeah. I would say the whole of Friends, and that won't win me any friends. I don't really care for that show, but you're right. It's these things should have been replaced a long time ago, and they are handling far more traffic than they were designed to handle, and really they're beyond their lifespan. I mean, but this is a problem that is nationwide. I mean, that's why we had the bridge collapse up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And there's something like several thousand bridges around the entire nation that are in the same boat. This is why they've been saying, we need like $1 trillion of investment into our physical infrastructure to address some of these issues, and this is one of those projects. So 10 years ago, the what was O&B, Operation New Birmingham, which is now Rev Birmingham, in conjunction with the Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham, commissioned a study about developing the core of the city. It was the Central City Development Plan. And among that was the recommendation that they look at sinking the interstate, putting it below grade, below ground, essentially in a trench, and then capping some, if not all of it, and basically making a pseudo tunnel, if you will,
Okay.
and removing it as a barrier between parts of the city. So, and this is something that has been done in numerous cities, not just across the nation, but around the world. You know, while it was problematic, the most famous example was Boston's Big Dig. That while they had issues with construction quality, the results above ground have been phenomenal. You've got parks and you've opened up waterfront, and it's really helped to transform the city. But you have the examples in Dallas, you have San Francisco. A couple of the cities around the country are already involved in trying to remove their freeways. Another big example, Madrid just buried they didn't just bury, they got one of those tunnel boring machines when they built the channel from England, France. They got one of those machines and they tunneled under the whole city to get their urban freeway out of the way and buried it 70 or 100 feet below ground. Yeah. So I mean that's the thing, is that and in every example where you have removed an urban freeway, you have seen the return of vitality to neighborhoods. You have seen property values go up. You have seen reinvestment in the core cities. Urban freeways are a blight. They destroy value. They do not add anything. And people want to say, oh well, it's good for moving traffic around. Well, traffic can move around without the freeway. The freeway doesn't really add value. And honestly, with the congestion that you see in a lot of cities, you can argue that it doesn't really add much of anything at all.
65 coming to work around Alabaster when I'm going to work the other way.
Right. And so, so in these other examples in other cities where they've removed it, what happens is in many of these core cities, you have a grid, blocks. And the grid is so easily adaptable to traffic patterns, so you get off on different exits and the traffic is just kind of dispersed very quickly. It's kind of like a spray hose on your a spray nozzle on your hose. It just kind of disperses it. So, with clever redesign, we could get something that's more functional for the Birmingham region. And really kind of improve the city. So, among the alternatives that have been proposed, we said 10 years ago, we want to sink this thing. And so the Department of Transportation is raising all of these, objections to the plan, saying, oh, it's too expensive to sink, or, one of the alternatives is to relocate it possibly to the Findlay Boulevard corridor. And they're just like, oh, it'd just be too hard, and it's just too expensive, and we just can't handle that because apparently we're not very good at our jobs. And yes, I'm mocking them openly. No, but they've had well over 10 years, because like I said, these bridges have been slated for replacement. Really, honestly, they should have been replaced like 20 or 25 years ago. So they've had sufficient time to deal with this. So, now we're up against the wall, and what they're proposing to do is just kind of rebuild them where they are. The original thing they said is, okay, we're just going to recap them. So just rebuild the deck on top of the existing pylons. And the city and the county were like, it's a terrible design. Why would we spend money to redo it as it is? So no, go do something else. So then they come back and say, okay, we've got a much better plan. We're going to build bigger bridges, higher, wider. We're going to eliminate all the downtown exits, and that's going to be better. Yeah. Everybody's response has been, I don't really get how that's better.
Right.
And it's hilarious. One of the official pamphlets that they brought out was titled "Improving Birmingham's Interstate Resources" or something like that. It's like, I don't see where any of this is an improvement. So as their plan stands, they're going to build bigger, higher, wider bridges. So basically, mostly the same thing, but they're going to eliminate the downtown exits and truck all of the off ramps onto 11th Avenue North, just right through the middle of BJCC.
Oh wow!
Well, there's two main problems with this. One of the problems is, depending on which direction you're coming, whether it's 65 north or south, 2059 east or west, you can't get onto that,
right,
to that access road. It's not complete access from all of the different corridors. So you may have to take like different exits to try to get to downtown. So that causes all kinds of confusion and problems with traffic. In addition, putting that on 11th Avenue North will probably completely destroy any chance whatsoever of building the multipurpose facility, aka the Dome,
Right.
at the BJCC. So because it goes right through the middle of the site that they've slated to place that. So it removes, regardless of your opinion of that project, I would rather have the option of doing it
Right.
than to have it removed from our potential future. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, and like I said, is when of all the things that you can criticize them for, the civil rights angle of putting it through poor black neighborhoods, just the fact that it's their design is passe. I mean, we're talking mid 20th century design is what they're proposing to do. This is 60 years past current thinking. It's just the financials of the matter. They're proposing spending between $300 and $400 million to build something that adds no value. Right. When you can absolutely prove, and you look at all of these other cities where they have removed urban freeways and it has increased investment, it has increased property value, aided revitalization. So we need a solution that creates value. Yeah, it may be slightly more expensive to sink it or relocate it, and it may take a little more time, but in the long run, like the 40 plus years that this thing may exist, you're going to create value that will not be created if they do their plan.
And with everything going on in that area right now, too, with the entertainment district, with the new the hotel that's right there,
the Westin.
The Westin that's just been opened. That it would be a perfect time to get rid of that.
Oh yes. Now there is no more perfect time, especially with all of the activity that's going on downtown. The Barron's returning, all of this investment. We've got like $1 billion of projects, private investment on the books. Building apartments and restaurants and breweries, and I mean, you name it, across the board. There's so much going on, and this could play into it very strongly. And this is bigger than, and one of the things I've tried to emphasize to people, so everyone that's listening, please understand that this is a Birmingham region thing. This isn't just about the neighborhoods.
Right. It's not just,
a strong core is good for all of us, because we can redesign this to where this works for our region, increases value, potentially expands jobs and investment, makes Birmingham an attractive place for people to come to resettle, to live, to invest.
It's interesting. I was at a political here, but I was at a fundraiser the other day for Mayor Bell, and he was talking about, he said, I've been asked before, all the investment in downtown, and there are lots of other neighborhoods that obviously need, financial support. And he said, you have to remember that when visitors of the city get off at the airport, usually the first thing that people use to determine whether or not a city is, if they've never been there before, is beautiful, is a crap hole, whatever. He didn't use that term, but is the downtown area.
Yeah.
And when it seems to be run down, when it seems to be old and underused, then it creates an impression of the city that you don't want to have, and especially with all the positivity that's going on in Birmingham right now. There really is no perfect time to do something. How if someone wants to get involved with, trying to make something positive occur, what like anybody listening, what would be your?
Well, you can go to www.rethink2059.com. There's no dashes or slashes. It's just rethink2059.com. That'll take you directly to the online petition that we've created, which is petitioning Mayor Bell, the County Commission, the City Council, and Governor Bentley to say that we want a real solution that looks forward and opens up opportunity not just for our region, but really the state as a whole. And so, we're there. You can also find us on Facebook. If you search for Rethink 2059, you can find our Facebook page, and that's where we do announcements about meeting times. We're meeting pretty regularly. We've got a core group of people that are strategizing about how to raise awareness of this issue and really kind of build a public response. So those are the two places that you can go. Please go sign the petition. It will help our region. It will make us a better city, and it will make Birmingham a better place to live.
Well, we're all for that, and there's so many positive things going on. It would be a shame if something that huge wound up becoming a bigger problem, and not just a bigger problem for a couple of years, but for decades.
Yeah, I mean, a generation or practically a lifetime. And that's the other thing to emphasize is this is the biggest infrastructure project that will happen in this region for probably the next 20 years. There's the Northern Beltline that they're talking about, but that has a lifespan of like 30 to 40 years.
Yeah.
This is something that's far more immediate. That is a real concern, and the Department of Transportation is saying, "Oh, we've got to move on this so fast." Which that's the
since they've had 10 years to move on it.
Yeah, no, really much longer than that, and that's the real thing that's frustrating is that they've known that we've wanted an alternative solution for this long, and they really have not done anything to address that.
So rethink2059.com, go and check it out and learn more, sign the petition, find out how you can get involved. Appreciate you coming on the show and discussing.
My pleasure.
This is very eye opening and something
interesting things. Wow.
Yes.
Oh, it's what I do, man.
All right. Well, it's a little. We're going to play a couple tunes here. This is Carly Black. Her new album is now finally available on iTunes. She's been selling it in shows, but it is now digitally available. This is called Since the Fall. You are listening to 107.3 Birmingham Mountain Radio. I'm saying 103.7. Man, I appreciate you being on here.
Oop.
Yeah, I was actually looking up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was great.
Uh-oh.